We are live. We are live. Welcome to College Football's Peek Around the Corner with your host, Greg Pflugar. We cover everything in college football because we love everything in college football. And if you do us well, please subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you like our content. Share the video with your family and friends. If you want to support this rebel outpost with a donation, hit the $ where you make a comment, and I'll get to super chat as quick as I possibly can. Welcome, everybody, even the evil badger Jeff Olson, who is depressed because, first of all, his wagers in Iowa did not go too well. But anyways, Jeff Olson, the evil badger, is depressed over what is going on in the portal with the Wisconsin Badgers. Holy smokes. Even the evil badger Jeff Olson is welcome into the studio. Even the big Lubbock. We might have some Texas Tech news today. More Texas Tech news today. Daniel Montcastle, Mr. Hoosier, is in the house. Mr. Montcastle is getting ready for the Sunday selection on where his beloved Indiana Hoosiers, where are they going to be seated? We believe here at Peek Around the Corner they're going to be number 10. And after Georgia loses to Texas, it's going to be a Georgia-Indiana contest. That's our projections. We're probably 100% entirely wrong. Just giving you my projections. That's all. Enough for us to talk about. Florida man is in the house. The Clemson Tigers, Bo Weevil, he's getting ready. The Clemson Tigers, Bo Weevil is getting ready. SMU, Clemson is one ACC championship victory away from getting into the playoffs. And if they do, where would Clemson be seated? What if Arizona State wins? What if Boise State wins? Is Clemson number 12? Probably. But you know what? I don't think the Clemson Tigers are going to complain. Wherever they are seated, they are not going to complain. Coy is in the house. Vox Quindaro is here. The PAC chat is full of spit and vinegar. I'm going to say the word spit, not the other word. Matt Neeson says, the Cyclones are going to win. The Cyclones are going to win. If you remember, about a month ago, we laid a picture out there. We painted a picture. Iowa State, the fans are in the living room. They can smell the Big 12 championship pot roast. The smell was going from the kitchen into the living room. And the Cyclone fans were sitting on the couches and chairs, and they could smell that Big 12 championship. But they also could smell the blueberry playoff pie that was sitting in the windowsill. And that is what the Cyclones were smelling when they were sitting in the living room. And now they're one step away. Ames, Iowa is on the seat. They're on the edge of their seat. They're one game away from going to the college football playoffs. Wow. There's a pot roast. Yeah, we talked about that. The blueberry playoff pie. No, I don't believe so. I do not believe so. We all know why Bill wants a college gig. I'm gonna let you guys go with that. Anthony Carlson is in the house. Kale Ball is here. Coy, the Bearcat Steve the Bearcat. We've got Bearcat news. Healing, Florida, not happening. Just throwing the scent off for a few days. I got I will say this. Overall, the people at Inside Carolina, I don't know if they would go that far, but I think they still, and we still, we've had John Sumrall, number 1, Matt Campbell, number 2, on the North Carolina hot board. We took Schumann off long time ago, which means like a week and a half ago. We're going to go ahead and put Bill Belichick as number 3 on the hot board. And I'm going to give you my reasons why. Is he number 1? No. Is he number 2? No, I don't think so. Is he number 3? Yeah, I think so. I don't think this is smoke and mirrors. And I'm going to go over the reasons why. Starting fires on Tobacco Road. Well, I said this earlier. Let me see if I can find it here real quick. I said this about 2 hours ago. 2 hours ago on X. We've been talking at College Football's Peek Around the Corner how 2025 is the year of Bubba. Have received some minor complaints. We've been taking this narrative a little far. I'm thinking we should probably hit the gas even harder. And that is what we're going to look. If you caught our live show yesterday, I think you can understand the context of what we're discussing here today. If you missed our live show yesterday, please, when you have a moment, go back and watch it. If you have a chance, go back and watch it. Bubba Cunningham, and we'll get into it here in the back end of our monologue because we got a lot of news to cover today. Bubba Cunningham is not going to leave any rock unturned. He is being incredibly aggressive in so many different ways. And that is why, look, Christopher Mercado, part of the PATC family, thank you so much for the new artwork. And he gave me some other artwork that I'm going to be using. Thank you so much, Mr. Christopher Mercado. The invasion of private equity, as we said, there's two people on the stage in the Holy Smokes Theater, and that is Brett Yormark and Bubba Cunningham. We are going to follow this story, and I'm not saying these two are working together because I don't think they are, but I think they hold the same position when it comes to private equity. And so how does this tie into Bill Belichick? I'm being a little dramatic here, right? Was Coach Bill Belichick sitting in the front of the Holy Smokes Theater? Was he? Probably not. Probably not. But we're going to get into it because we are. We're going to get into it. I made a few phone calls after the Bill Belichick news became official that he had interviewed with North Carolina. And we're going to have to talk about it, guys. We are going to have to talk about it. He's not number one or number two on the board, but I think it's a big indication of something even bigger going on at North Carolina. Nathan Jones is in the house. Random tease. If Hugh Freeze takes the UCF job, I have not heard of Hugh Freeze taking the UCF job. He's not on our UCF hot board. We've got three names on our UCF hot board. It's John Sumrall, the same name that heads the North Carolina hot board. Jamie Chadwell, which we don't think is going to be it, but we're going to have him as number 3. And as number 2, we got Scott Frost. We also don't think that is smoke and mirrors. We also think that Scott Frost, there's something there. So we got him as number 2. And in West Virginia, we still got number 1, Rich Rodriguez. Number 1 with the bullet. We'll see what happens here after this weekend, or maybe we'll hear more on Sunday. We'll see what happens. Okay. let's get to the many, many stories we got to get to before we get into Bill Belichick. Thank you all for joining us here. Live show Thursday, December 5th. We're waiting for the college conference championship games that start tomorrow night. We are going to be doing a watch party of UNLV, Boise State, and yes, the Mountain West Conference Commissioner. The Mountain West Conference Commissioner, Gloria Nevarez, says if UNLV, if they win, if they beat Boise State, they deserve the bye. They deserve that fourth spot ahead of the Big 12 champion, possibly ahead of Clemson. Holy smokes. Gloria Nevarez says if UNLV number 20 beats number 10 Boise State, it's UNLV that deserves the bye. They defeated a couple of Big 12 teams. Why not UNLV? Why not? Wow. Elbows are being thrown all over the place. Yes, I did see Urban Meyer's public statement. And we never took that Urban Meyer's not coaching again. So we keep saying that. We don't believe he even I believe his days of coaching are done. In fact, I think he said that in his public statement. So yeah, we're not taking Urban Meyer. No more. We don't. Every time Urban Meyer's name comes up for coaching on a coaching list, we dismiss it here at Peek Around the Corner. No Mountain West Conference team deserves a bye over a Big 12 team unless they are undefeated. Andrew Bennett. Kevin Pryor, that's not happening. Even though I believe the Rebels will win the game. No Gloria, no Bo Weevil, Illini Ted. Sorry, Gloria. You must be on something, not onto something. Tumasta. Gloria Nevarez knows her role. Stephen Vitt, sorry, Gloria. Well, it's not just Gloria Nevarez who's throwing elbows out there. Okay, for whatever reason, that shouldn't be there. So I screwed up somewhere. Anyways, I'm going to have to fire my production team, which is me. Brett Yormark opens his remarks Wednesday with a rant that was 4 minutes in length and rooted in reason. The target of his ire, the College Football Playoff Selection Committee, the Mercury News, John Wilner. The committee continues to show time and time again that they are paying attention to logos versus resumes. Yormark said on the media teleconference ahead of the Big 12 championship game Saturday, which matches number 15 Arizona State against number 16, the Iowa State Cyclones. The strength of schedule should matter, and wins against Power 4 opponents should matter. Yormark is right, of course, but here's the twist. The Big 12 contender, and I talked about this yesterday, the Big 12 contender with the best strength of schedule and the best strength of record and the best victory and all of these things is not even playing in the Big 12 championship game. You can't use BYU's resume because they're not in the Big 12 championship game. Now, you can use them as an at-large bid and compare them against other at-large bid teams. That's fair, but you cannot compare BYU to the you cannot compare BYU, their resume, with the Mountain West Conference champion, with the ACC champion because they're not in the same lane. There are things that I agree with your Mark when he threw the elbows yesterday. There are some things I don't, because he agreed with this format. There is no law, there's no rule in there, there's no criteria in there that says no 3-loss team should ever be ahead of a 2-loss team. There's no G5 team. Well, let's get into it. We talked about the Cougars. They're sitting at home. They've got a very good resume. They beat SMU on the road. But again, if SMU wins their ACC conference championship game, you can't compare the two. But you could compare BYU and SMU, right? And SMU has a head-to-head win. We'd argue the number 18 Cougars should be ranked ahead of Iowa State, not 2 spots behind the Cyclones. And you can make the case BYU should be in contention for an at-large berth, given that it's number 12 strength of record, which measures a team performance against its schedule. It's higher than 4 teams ranked above them: Boise State, Miami, Mississippi, and Clemson. And again, Clemson and Boise State are not really part of this discussion. They are in a different lane. They're not going to go into the at-large lane. Miami and Mississippi are the two that BYU looks very good against when you're talking strength of record. Now, to be clear, we are not criticizing. This is the Mercury News, John Wilner. We're not criticizing the Big 12 tiebreaker formula specifically, because everyone's using it, right? Head-to-head results were prioritized, followed by records against common opponents. Essentially, the Cougars were eliminated in the tie-breaking process because of happenstance. The games they lost and the teams they did not play. In the Big 12 schedule rotation, Brigham Young missed 2 of the tied teams, the Cyclones and the Buffaloes, and played the Sun Devils on the road. Had the schedule unfolded differently, the Cougars might have produced victories that changed the outcomes of the tiebreaker. But that is the life in the age of a 16-team conference that plays 9 league games, no divisions, just like everybody else. Is there a better process? That's for the Big 12 to determine this offseason. Let me know in the chat room. Let me know with the phone calls later in the show. Do you see a different process that the Big 12 can use? Let me know. And it should consider anything and everything that places as many teams as possible in position to make the college football playoff field. Your Mark and his staff should take a deep dive into the non-conference scheduling strategy, the number of conference games, the placement of conference games within the competition calendar, and the implementation of a flex scheduling component. Should the Big 12 block off 1 or 2 weekends in November for the conference to create the best matchups for college football playoff access? We know. I'm going to stop there. After all, the selection committee signaled weeks ago through its placement of the Big 12 teams that the conference wasn't deemed worthy of an at-large berth. And that second-tier existence has carried into these fateful final days. 2 of its 2-loss teams, Brigham Young and Colorado, are behind 4 teams with 3 losses. Alabama, South Carolina, Mississippi, and remarkably Clemson, which is now number 26 strength of schedule, 14th spots below the Cougars' position. Colorado is a 3-loss team, by the way. If logos mattered more than scheduled strength, if the number of losses carries more weight than quality wins, the Big 12 should evaluate the whole shebang. what happened to the Cougars specifically and the conference generally must be avoided in the future at all costs. Again, in the chat room, let me know with the phone calls. Let me know. To me, there is not, look, nobody even thought that Brigham Young was going to contend for the Big 12 championship. It is impossible. I mean, we all do it. I'm guilty of it. Everybody's guilty of it. We look at the schedules before the season. We say that one is really difficult. That one's not too difficult. Based upon last season results or historical results of the teams that are on your schedule. But it doesn't always work out that way. Teams that they thought, okay, I got BYU on my schedule. We got a 60% chance of winning that game. BYU will finish 11th or 12th or 13th in the conference. No. BYU, man, they were making plays left and right, pulling games out left and right. Very good defense, opportunistic offense, that scored when it needed to score. Again, you cannot plot your way. You cannot determine what you need to do with the schedule. It's impossible. Now, having said that, the last week, be it a flex opponent, or being a flex conference semifinal weekend, all that is being looked at. And I think John Wilner, I don't know, I've never spoken to John Wilner, a few back and forths on Twitter. But I think he probably knows that the Big 12 and other conferences have been having discussions on this. We talked about this on September 9th. I've been laying as many hints and winks as possible about this issue of a flex weekend. That is something the Big 12 can do. But again, all of these elbows that are being thrown, Lane Kiffin, the Mountain West Conference, Gloria Navarez, Brett Yormark, Radakovich, Miami's athletic director, BY, everybody, right? The solution, they might go right back, and I'm not saying this is something that I want to see as a fan, but going to those automatic qualifiers, it's going to basically determine most of the field with a little bit of room for at-large bids, and it's going to be done by your conference standings, so there's nothing to really bitch about. And the committee will handle the seeding. That is one solution, and again, they're probably going to go back to it, discuss it some more. That's what the Big Ten wants, and they'll probably get the SEC on board. And I've heard of this other solution about a computer. Have the computer decide your tournament. I am not 100% against that. I am not 100% for that. I'm willing to give it another try. You know, we do this. We do the computer rankings for the college hockey playoffs. It's called Pairwise. Everybody knows. Everybody understands. It will be decided 1 through 16 computer. So it's already being done. Now it's hockey, and I get it. But it's already being done today. yesterday, last year, the year before, the year before, the year before. It handles who's in the tournament, and it basically handles it's the seedings, but it doesn't quite handle the regional placement. There is a committee that decides who's the top 4 teams in this region, 1 through 4 seed in this region, 1 through 4 seed in this region, 1 through 4 seed in this region. But Pairwise does take care of a lot of it. So Daniel Montcastle, I have a question. If Indiana started the season ranked number 1 and then only lost to the Buckeyes, where would Indiana be ranked? Where would they be ranked if you put any SEC logo on the helmets? Those are great questions. They'd be ranked higher. They would be. They would be ranked higher. They would be ranked where Penn State is ranked. Now, Penn State is going to the Big Ten championship game based upon Big Ten tiebreakers. But I agree with what Daniel just said, or what he's trying to, what he's saying in his own way. Okay. Now let's get to some other news here. And then we're going to talk about Bill Belichick. Was Bill Belichick sitting in the front row of the Holy Smokes Theater? Opening night, last night, we did a live show. If you missed it, go back and watch it. North Carolina is targeting Tulane coach John Sumrall and expected to make a push for him this weekend. My column on what Tulane needs to do to keep him. This is a New Orleans Tulane writer, Jeff Duncan. So I'm just showing you this. ESPN, Tulane, their perspective is that North Carolina is going to be coming to do some John Sumrall hunting. We at Peek Around the Corner, we do agree. We've had John Sumrall number 1 on the North Carolina hot board since Mr. Brown was fired. So we agree with this. We also think Matt Campbell is somebody that North Carolina is discussing. And then right now, we're going to go ahead and put Bill Belichick as number 3. We'll get into that in a little bit. John Sumrall is the target for North Carolina, number 1. Now, we could be wrong here at Peek Around the Corner for the last 2 weeks, but we think John Sumrall is number 1. New Texas Tech offensive coordinator. Offensive coordinator. Texas State offensive coordinator Mac Leftwich is finalizing a 3-year deal to become the next offensive coordinator at Texas Tech. He's led Texas State to a pair of top 5 offenses the last 2 years. So the Red Raiders got themselves a new offensive coordinator, Mac Leftwich. Breaking news today, UCLA fires their offensive coordinator, Eric Bieniemy. 1 year on the job, Eric Bieniemy gets fired at UCLA. Ashton Daniel, he's going in the portal, the Stanford starting quarterback, Ashton Daniels. And I got to be honest with you, I don't know where this young man's going to end up. I was not impressed with his play at all. I don't know. A few weeks ago, I was looking at his I was looking at the quarterback statistics throughout the ACC, and he was at the bottom. I don't even remember what I read. He had more interceptions than touchdowns. At least at that point, I was not impressed. He's in the portal. I don't know where he's going to end up. But we'll see what happens. Maybe he just needs a change of scenery to get him going. Ashton Daniels in the portal. Now, this next one, this lingo, how this was, I think we're going to be hearing more and more and more about this in the years ahead. Pete Thamel reports Cincinnati quarterback Brendan Sorsby has agreed to a new deal to stay at the school, per ESPN sources. He threw for 2,800 yards, ran for 445 more. He threw for 18 touchdowns, ran for 9 more. Sorsby's best game this season when he counted for 478 total yards at Texas Tech. So this is an article of a quarterback has agreed to a new deal and he's staying. College football. College football, we don't normally talk like that, right? We don't talk like that. But I got a feeling that we're going to be talking like this a lot. Quarterback so-and-so, cornerback so-and-so, wide receiver so-and-so has signed a new deal with LSU, with Michigan State, with the Florida Gators. I think we're going to be reading a lot of this type of lingo in the years ahead. Again, Pete Thamel, Cincinnati quarterback Brendan Sorsby has agreed to a new deal to stay at the school. Not going in the portal, not leaving. He's signing a new deal. Barrett Brown, Kentucky's wide receiver, entering the portal. Now, I eat it. Kentucky wasn't good. Kentucky didn't have a very good offense. Barrett Brown has some incredible skills. He pops out on the screen. I don't think he caught many balls this year. I'm thinking it's less than 40. Go check it out, or maybe I'm completely wrong. He didn't have a big, massive year, but I'm pretty sure on that. But I think you're going to find a lot of interest in Mr. Brown in the portal out of Kentucky. This is the guy that I like. I like this guy. I like this guy. Kyron Hudson plans to enter the NCAA transfer portal, he announced. Now, look at that catch that he made against LSU. We had a watch party of that game. We saw that catch live here in the studios, and I screamed, you screamed, we all screamed when Mr. Hudson made this catch. He's a good football player, good wide receiver. I don't think he's going to get a whole lot of money. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the market is. I don't think people are considering him the top tier in the wide receiver market in the portal. But somebody's going to get a good wide receiver when they get their hands on Kyron Hudson. Okay, so those are the news that we're talking about here. Let me first before we get to Bill Belichick, let me get to Mr. Ryan Willie, the evil Badger. According to ESPN, I had not seen this. Tyler Van Dyke has hit the portal. Connor Wagsman has family in Wisconsin. Hold on, everybody. Hold on. Hold on. Sorry, guys. There's just a lot of stuff going on right now. Holy smokes. I don't see any news on that. If somebody sees the news on Tyler Van Dyke, please send it my way. Please send it my way on direct message on X. If anybody sees that story, thank you for the super chat, Mr. Ryan Willie. I do appreciate your generosity once again. That would be incredibly interesting. Tyler Van Dyke in the portal once again. He got injured in the first game. He was looking pretty good on the second drive. I think he survived the first 2 drives, got injured, and if he's hitting the portal again, he's starting all over. He's still got 1 more year of eligibility. If anybody has that story, send it to me. I want to talk here about Mr. Bill Belichick. Grant Hughes. It's official. Inside Carolina, that is North Carolina 247, CBS, reports that North Carolina has interviewed 6-time Super Bowl champ Bill Belichick for its head coaching position. When I saw that, I made a call. I made a couple calls, texted a couple, and I just wanted to make sure that it is real, and that it wasn't just something that, okay, even though it's real, is it just smoke? I was told it's more than smoke. There is genuine interest. And then, about 10 minutes before we came on live, there's an article here. For whatever reason, it's not popping up. Here we go. Pat 40, Sports Illustrated, SI. We're going to go through this article real quick, and then I'm gonna let you guys know what I was told, and it's why I decided to title the show in the manner that I did. Sources: Bill Belichick interested in college coaching after North Carolina talks. The 6-time Super Bowl winning coach wants to be back on the sideline in 2025 and has been in discussions with the Tar Heels after they fired Mac Brown. Yes. This is not a one-day occurrence. This is multiple days. Multiple discussions, which led to an interview. Now, before I go any farther, it's PATC, Peek Around the Corner, our hot board, 3.0, North Carolina. We got John Sumrall, number 1. We got Matt Campbell, number 2. So we're not implying that this is imminent, that it's going to happen, but we got to have Bill Belichick, number 3. We have never filled that third spot, ever. Hot board 1, hot board 2, we only had 2 names. And it's always been Sumrall, number 1. But we're going to go ahead and put Bill Belichick, number 3. And I'm going to give you more reasons why we are doing this here at Peek Around the Corner. North Carolina Tar Heels have had discussions in recent days with the legendary NFL coach Bill Belichick about their vacant job, sources confirmed to Sports Illustrated on Thursday. Inside Carolina, a website devoted to covering UNC athletics, reported earlier Thursday that Belichick had indeed interviewed for the job. Sources tell SI that Belichick, who won 6 Super Bowls as coach of the New England Patriots, definitely wants to coach again in 2025 after sitting out this season. He wants to coach. His interest was believed to be centered on the return to the NFL, which still could be in play, but multiple sources say Belichick has been in discussions with North Carolina for several days and has genuine interest in the college game. We at Peek Around the Corner have been told the exact same thing. Now, this article just came out right before 58 minutes ago. And we had everything ready for the show before 58 minutes. But so this, and I don't know how long we've been on here. We've been on for 46 minutes. So this came out 12 minutes before we came on live. We absolutely have heard the same thing. And we're going to tell you a little bit more here. Belichick would bring unparalleled credentials to a middle-of-the-road football program, but he also has no college experience in his nearly half-century in the sport. At age 72, it would be an interesting time to learn the evolving landscape of the college game, though the increasing professionalization at that level could also lend some familiarity to the job. For North Carolina, it would mean turning the program over to a second straight coach in their 70s. Athletic director Bubba Cunningham fired 73-year-old Mack Brown. Brown had expressed displeasure with the current state of college football, with the portal, NIL compensation. The presumption was that Cunningham would look for a much younger successor to Brown, but Belichick's accomplishments could be considered enough to transcend age concerns. Belichick's interest level in the nuts and bolts of recruiting would need to be answered, but his staff could handle most of that work. And Belichick's name would sell itself to recruits, both at the high school and college transfer levels. Another recent unconventional college coach, Deion Sanders, has built a successful program with the Colorado Buffaloes without doing in-home recruiting visits. So the comparison to Deion Sanders is quite interesting. Cunningham has been vetting other candidates for the job, including Tulane Green Wave John Sumrall, Liberty's coach Jamie Chadwell. We at Peek Around the Corner have been told it's not going to be Chadwell. If it is, we'll take the L. But that name hasn't gotten on our list. I don't need to go into reasons why today, but anyways, it's listed here. Sports Illustrated, John Sumrall, Jamie Chadwell, Matt Campbell. And we've had Matt Campbell for number 2 for the last couple, basically since the start. Inside Carolina reported that Georgia Bulldogs defensive coordinator Glenn Schumann also is a candidate. We've taken him off the list. Sumrall could be available for formal discussions with UNC after Friday night. Okay. So let me tell you what we were told here at Peek Around the Corner. What we were told at Peek Around the Corner. Greg, he's 72. Yep. Hold on 1 second. I need to do something. I need to clean something up. I'm going to tell you what we've been told about the Bill Belichick situation. Give me 1 moment, please. I'm going to have to answer something here. Hold on. Information here at Peek Around the Corner never stops flowing, especially during a live show. Especially during a live show. We constantly have stuff going on. People, I'm communicating with people. Give me a moment. So this is what we were told. North Carolina and we have been saying this for weeks. 2025 is going to be the year of the Bubba Cunningham. We said he's going to be mighty aggressive. They may do something crazy at North Carolina when it comes to, look, the title, the invasion of private equity, okay? We had a live show yesterday. If you missed it, go watch it. Bubba Cunningham, regardless if it's John Sumrall, because you're not, North Carolina is targeting John Sumrall, but it's not North Carolina versus Tulane. It's North Carolina versus the near future at Kentucky. We also talked about this 2 weeks ago, that if John Sumrall signs on, there's going to be a heavy commitment by both sides. We're not going to go into the heavy commitment that John Sumrall would need to do, which would be a high buyout, but the high commitment of North Carolina to get John Sumrall. Because they're not competing against Tulane. Sumrall might stay at Tulane, but they're not competing against Tulane. They're competing against Kentucky. So, North Carolina has to make a big old commitment to Sumrall. Number 2 on that list, and we believe, now this is going to get people upset. We believe, and I think Inside Carolina has reported this, but we believe there's going to be an interview between North Carolina and Matt Campbell. Inside Carolina might have said it's already happened. We don't quite think so. But regardless, we think it's going to happen. We don't think it's happened yet. And I'll take the L if we're wrong, but it doesn't really matter. To speak with Matt Campbell, to target Matt Campbell, again, North Carolina is going to have to make a heavy commitment. Bill Belichick. So when we made the phone calls, when we reached out, when we knew that this was actually real, and it is, the interview is real, it is. So we had questions, and here was the answer. This is the chatter behind the curtain. Bill Belichick is not going to go down this road, talk for days, and then have an interview. He's not going to do this. He's not going to waste his time. He's not going to be interested. His agent checked it out. North Carolina's not going to waste their time. They're not going to waste Bill Belichick time, a 6-time Super Bowl champion. They're not going to have an interview for smoke. They're not going to have an interview. What are they smoking about? What are they trying? No, this is real. This is real. And for this real interview to occur, Bill Belichick interviewing for a college job, that means North Carolina checked at least some of the boxes for Bill Belichick. One of those boxes that North Carolina would have to check out for Bill Belichick, one of the most important boxes, the important boxes is, again, resources. Bill Belichick isn't going to go be the coach of North Carolina if he cannot if he can't have a coaching staff, a recruiting department, a marketing department. He is going to demand resources up to a pretty good level, above the ACC average, right? Bill Belichick ain't coming in here and doing it on the cheap. That's not happening. Which takes us to, we've been saying this about Bubba Cunningham in North Carolina. We don't know how this is going to end. I don't know where this is going. Don't know. I'm sorry, guys. I do not know. I don't know what the next step is. We are following this story. We got a North Carolina money perch who gave us the heads up on Matt Brown, on the ice arena, and on this, and private equity. There is a holy smokes theater. There is the invasion of private equity drama that is going on. I put this comment in the speech bubble. This was more of a joke, right? But again, how the answer was given to us when we asked the question. North Carolina, again, we've got North Carolina people who watch this show all the time. And this has become our tagline. No disrespect. No disrespect at all. I say that a lot because I get every one of you guys upset with me. At least once every month. Because, no disrespect at all to North Carolina. But as we sit here December 5th, 2024, North Carolina probably doesn't have the resources that they are promising their targets. Bill Belichick, for one, they don't have it right now. They don't. North Carolina's not over. They're not sitting on. They're not in poverty, but they're not rolling in it either. Everything that North Carolina's talking about, everything that Bubba Cunningham is doing, everything that they're concerned about, everything that they're targeting gives more and more of indication of we're going to handle it. We're going to do it. We're going to find the cash. We're going big here. We're going big here. When Belichick's agent called North Carolina was interested. When they had their preliminary talks, both parties stayed interested. When the interview happened, then that information was leaked, and we believe that we've been told that both parties remain interested. Again, North Carolina is not thinking of themselves as the North Carolina that hasn't won a conference championship since 1980. North Carolina is not thinking of themselves as a team with a revenue stratification problem where they are below the Big Ten and the SEC schools where they're $35 million below them every single year. And for whatever reason, Bill Belichick is interested in the North Carolina job. Was he told something? We don't know. Was he promised something? He had to been. We don't know where this is going, but I just wanted to put it out there. Again, 2025, we don't know how. We don't know how, when, where, but everything is Bubba Cunningham for the first half of 2025. And at the very least, the Bubba Cunningham, the Bill Belichick, at the very least, is another small hint to that. Or a big hint to it. But at the very least, it's a small indicator that, again, North Carolina is thinking big. Big, big, big. And how are they going to accomplish everything they want to accomplish? Well, I think that's the answer. We're going to find out in 2025. We're going to find out a lot in 2025. Go Black 45. Great with the portal and the NIL. Would hiring NFL experienced coaches be a trend in the next 5 to 6 years? They're used to wheeling and dealing with athletes. Well, we know the general manager is going to be part of college athletic departments, right? The general managers trying to there's some young NFL people that are being hired by these athletic departments in the highest level of college football, college athletics, to manage, to do the wheeling and dealing. But could that also extend to NFL coaches, the older guys? It could. If Bill Belichick gets hired and there's success, it could. I've been thinking this is going to be a more younger person job, a younger man's job, right? A lot more energy is going to be needed. But I don't know. Maybe Bill Belichick can come in as like a CEO. I don't know. Go Black 45. It's a great question. I don't have the answer. We're going to follow it together. Go Black 45. Thank you so much for your super chat. Thank you so much for your continued generosity. Ricky Tungate gifted 5 memberships. Skaven, yes, Mr. Cornhuskers. Lewis is in the house. Gifted a membership. Mr. Duke Blue Devil in West Virginia. Mountaineer, Levy Manning. Joey Foster. Holy smokes. Antoine Codes. All of you have been gifted a membership. Thank you so much. Please say thank you to Ricky for his incredible generosity once again. All 5 of you and Ricky are hereby knighted officially once again. Cloak and dagger. Appreciate it very much, Ricky. Thank you so much. Wow. BJ, Greg, dealing with grown men is not the same as dealing with 18 or 19-year-olds. Absolutely not. You're correct. You are correct. Antoine Code says thanks. Skaven, yes. Thank you, guys. Bean is saying thank you for your generosity, Ricky. Matt Campbell is the winningest coach in Iowa State history. Just led them to their first 10-win season. He's staying for legacy reasons. You could absolutely be correct, MBM. Absolutely. And you know what type of... now, Matt Campbell has been an incredible success at Ames. He's had other successful seasons. Never quite the 10 wins. Finally got there. They are in the Big 12 championship game. The Iowa State Cyclones could be in the college football playoffs. Unbelievable story. This all gives Matt Campbell even more leverage. More leverage. Right? His agent is doing what he's supposed to do. He's done it before. He's putting out stories, and we believe them to be true, that Matt Campbell is on the hot board list for North Carolina. We cannot confirm that there's been an interview. I think other people are reporting that. We cannot report that. But again, we also been told that North Carolina is mighty interested, and they're going to have to show an unbelievable, huge amount of commitment to Matt Campbell to pry him away. They're going to have to do it. North Carolina's targets, all three of them, in our opinion, John Sumrall, Matt Campbell, Bill Belichick, for three different separate reasons, are all targets that North Carolina is really going to have to, but I think Bubba Cunningham's got big, big plans. And some of those big plans, I think, are going to be pushed along by other radical plans. So that's the story, one of the many stories we're going to follow into 2025. Bill Belichick wouldn't be a horrible third choice. He might become the number one choice, as far as we know. Right? Tar Heels need a splash hire. Go Belichick. Kevin Pryor. Stephen Vitt, I think Iowa State's winning the Big 12 title. So Campbell's got it good. Yeah, all that, man. Matt Neeson, Matt Campbell has a lot of support from the president and the athletic director. That, without a doubt, that is true. That is true. Matt Campbell doesn't have an agent. Well, he's got somebody letting people know. Right? Matt Campbell's not leaking all this stuff on his own. He's got people telling other people that he's got people. Matt Campbell's got people. Maybe he doesn't pay him the same way as an agent. Let me be clear. Okay, let me open up the phone lines here. I appreciate it so much, Ricky Tungate, Mr. Hoosier, for your generosity. Thank you so much. Okay, let me get the phone lines open. Let me know how wrong we got it here. Peek around the corner. 763-260-1333. 763-260-1333. I'm calling BS on the reported Belichick legit interest. It is legit. It's legit. They've had an interview. It's real. It's real. We don't got him number one on the hot board, though. We got him number 3 now, but he's not number 1. We believe that is John Sumrall of Tulane. And that candidacy has an issue. Sumrall has leverage. It's the Kentucky leverage. Matt Campbell has a whole lot of leverage.
Call from
BJ.
BJ, the floor is yours. Thanks for calling, sir.
What's up, Greg? And as always, thanks for allowing me to speak on your platform. I'll start off with the Belichick reported interest. Call me skeptical. I don't think there's any interest in that position, like legitimate interest in that position. If anything, I think it could be to create urgency and leverage for an NFL job, Jerry Jones, Dallas Cowboys. For a person to be 72 and to venture into a new landscape, it is very, very rare, right, for that to happen. Mm-hmm. And with Belichick being everything in New England, he had his hands on everything: player acquisition, player retention, coaching, right? And in college, that's not the case. The boosters have a lot of influence. For me, and we can disagree, I don't think it's legitimate interest necessarily. I read the article on CBS, and the way it was worded, they were very hesitant to commit Bill Belichick's actual interest. It was more of one-sided interest the other way around. Maybe there was an agent trying to generate leverage and urgency or another spot. And as it pertains to Matt Campbell, I look at that from two different angles, right? I look at it from the coach's perspective. Coaches are very, career-driven individuals. Most of them, not all of them, but most of them, they want to elevate, right? And also look at it from the school's perspective, right? How does it benefit the school versus how does it benefit the coach? From a school standpoint, I think Matt Campbell's a top 15, top 20 coach in college football. He has a resume. He has the production. I think he's kind of capped out at Iowa State. And it's not from his own lack of ability, but from just a conference level ability. And same with the ACC. There's only, the CFP is telling us there's a cap. You have to be an exceptional team, damn near undefeated to get, the CFP's attention. So I think from that aspect, he maybe wanted to go to a space where he has the opportunity to legitimately win a national championship. Or you can look at it from a money perspective. Iowa State pays him about $4 million. That's extremely low for a top-tier job. He can go to any Big Ten team for the most part, and he'll get double that. So from a school standpoint, can North Carolina, you mentioned a significant investment, can North Carolina pay him $7-8 million a year and cover his staff? And I don't know that question. They haven't done it before. So it will have to be a huge commitment, and more than a commitment, it'll have to be a change of mindset for them to put football first. I'm not buying North Carolina ever putting football first or even close to being first, but maybe you can kind of correct me on that if I'm wrong. I've watched that program for a long, long time. They've never been a spender when it comes to football.
Well,
small stadium, no upgrades on the stadium. So for me, historically, they haven't done it, and they would have to make a significant shift in mindset in order to compete with a coach like Matt Campbell.
Yeah, that is what our whole show was about yesterday.
Okay.
So if you didn't see that, go check it out. I mean, true, North Carolina would have to make a bigger commitment to football. And how they're going to come up with those resources is something that Mr. Cunningham's working on. And again, if you look at the title of our show here, if you look at the screen, so there is, I get it. But North Carolina might be changing here. So by hook or by crook, they might be changing.
Is it by force?
Huh?
Are they forced? Or you think they're having to be forced to change, right?
Yes, and we believe they are at the forefront of exploring and wanting to do private equity. So this is what we've been talking about for a couple months. If you go check out our live show yesterday, BJ,
Well, I will do. And I have one more question for you,
Yeah.
Greg. If you're Matt Campbell, right?
Yeah.
Like, and it's been reported for years that he wants a Big Ten job, right? And that's no secret. That's what it's been reported. If I'm Matt Campbell, why don't I wait a year to see what Michigan does? Right?
Yeah.
Because if Moore has another subpar season, that position is going to be open, right? And I think just looking at the landscape, he feels like a Big Ten kind of guy. He comes from that area. I think he was in Ohio before he came to Iowa for a Division III school. To me, that Michigan job would be more in line to what he wants, family-wise and just culture-wise, versus the North Carolina job. So I know his name is brought up for the North Carolina job, but if I'm Campbell, why don't I just wait a year to see what Michigan do? Does that make sense?
Well, he might. He's been waiting. Yeah. Yep. It makes sense. It does. It does. No question about it.
Appreciate it, Greg. As always, stay blessed.
You got it. Appreciate it. Thank you. Great call. I do want to get to something here. There was an article just released. Again, BJ, and BJ is not the only one. A lot of people think this is just hogwash. But again, I want to The Athletic just came out with an article during this live show. And Bill Belichick has been, I'm going to get to it in a second here, but hang on. You don't want to miss this, what I'm about to say to you. Larry Andrick, thank you so much for your gifted membership. I appreciate it.
Call from
Rick, can you hold on for a moment, please?
Yes, sir, we can.
Appreciate it. Larry Andrick, thank you so much for your gifted membership. Nate, you were gifted a membership by the generosity of Larry. Please say thank you to Larry when you get a chance. Larry and Nate, you are both hereby knighted, cloak, and dagger members of our channel. Thank you so very much. Larry, once again, I appreciate it, Mr. Mountaineer, for all of your generosity, time and time again. Thank you so very much. Alani Ted, there will be several NFL coaching positions that Belichick could choose from. Not sure why he would want the challenges coaching carry with it. All great comments and questions. I just want to read you a little bit of part. This is 35 minutes ago from The Athletic. And Rick, I'll get to you in a moment. Okay, sir?
Can do.
Bill Belichick interviews for the North Carolina head coaching job. Basically, everyone is on this article. Deanna Rossini, Ralph Russo, Bruce Feldman, Brendan Marks. Bill Belichick has spoken with North Carolina officials multiple times. This is what we were told as well. How serious the two sides are about continuing to talk is unclear. And no decision on who the Tar Heels want to replace Mac Brown appears imminent. Sources spoke on the condition of anonymity because nobody wants to be out in public. The 72-year-old Bill Belichick, this is now, listen to this, has become intrigued with college football while spending considerable time inside a major college football program this past year and is believed to be open to either college or the NFL. His 37-year-old son, as many of you know, Steve Belichick, is a former Patriots assistant coach and is the Washington Huskies defensive coordinator, working with Huskies head coach Jed Fish, another former New England coach under the elder Belichick. Bill Belichick, has been involved with the Husky staff and has been engaged with the program. Last spring, when his son was installing the new defense, Bill Belichick spent extended time with the defensive staff for 7 days. He visited. He's fully invested in our program. fed fish, told The Athletic. Then it goes on to talk about how emails would come and phone calls would come from Bill Belichick. He watched film every week. He'd give a whole rundown and certain things to look at and think about. So he's been in the mix. He's been in a program. Belichick has been around the program, got a very up-close, in-depth look at what today's college football looks like around the Big Ten program in Seattle. The source added that Belichick has seen his scheme being run in college and that college football players can make it work. So, again, is it going to happen? Well, we have peek around the corner. We obviously got a couple guys ahead of him. Is it real? Yeah, this is real. This is real. So I would not be wasting our time, in my judgment, I would not be wasting our time talking about it tonight because there's a whole bunch of other things to talk about in college football. But when a 6-time Super Bowl champion NFL coach seriously is looking at the possibility of coaching the North Carolina Tar Heels, yeah, we're going to talk about it at least one night, Thursday, December 5th. Rick, thank you so much for your patience. The floor is yours.
Well, I was hoping, Greg, you could help me understand how this is coming about. I don't really care which of the three he elects to hire as his head coach. Regardless of which of the three, it's going to be a big money venture to get them, correct?
Well, if it turns out to be one of the three, I mean,
yeah.
peek around the corner, might go 0-3, but
I
yeah.
understand.
Yeah.
No, I understand that.
Yeah.
But if he goes with one of the three, it's going to be a big ticket item, long-term love affair. So that that tells me private equity's coming. He can't do that without private equity.
This would be another indication, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So we'll do some if-thens.
Yeah.
If that occurs, can UNC do this alone, by themselves, with no assistance, no intervention, no help, no contingency plan from any other ACC school?
I'm going to answer you this way. I'm glad you asked that question. I'm going to answer. There's nothing. Okay, guys. I'm not. Bill Belichick might not even have another interview. Might not talk with North Carolina. Blah blah blah. There's a lot of things here that we know it's real. But other than that, we don't know a whole lot here at Peek Around the Corner. But that question I can answer. We have been told, and I finally understand it, that the value, let me start a little bit backwards. The value of private equity, that people perceive it, yeah, it's the cash infusion, but these universities, if they want to get cheap cash, they can get it. The value that they get out of private equity is all the connections that private equity can give them. The sponsorships are basically a legal mafia. They can give you a whole lot of more value. This is why the NBA franchises have private equity. A lot of them have part of their ownership. This is why it's opened the door that the NFL owners now can bring on private equity. This is what these universities are looking at. All the contacts, all the leverage that these private equities can push and pull on other segments of the economy, blah, blah, blah. Things I don't understand. But, Rick, hold on. This is the answer. But we've been told that the advantages of bringing in private equity, Rick, increases dramatically the larger the scope. So coming in as a school level doesn't bring as much value to the school as much as if it comes in as the conference level for all the schools. And that doesn't bring as much value to each school if it comes in even as a bigger scope, i.e. Big 12 ACC or Super League or whatever. The bigger the scope, the bigger the entry, the bigger the entities, the bigger the scope is the best way I could put it. The more value, the perception is the more value that private equity can bring to each individual institution. I hope that explains it, Rick.
Yeah, I think it's a force multiplier.
Yes. Now you just said in 2 words better than what I just said in 1,000 words. Once again, that's the sign of intelligence, Rick. It's a sign of intelligence. You can do it a lot shorter than I can. Go ahead, sir.
It's a force multiplier, and many doors are opened by UNC doing it by themselves, but more doors are open if the conference does it, and even more doors are open if 2 conferences does it.
Yes, sir. That is what we are being told. And that is why we did our live show yesterday. That's why the Holy Smokes Theater doors were open. That is why those people who went to that meeting in Dallas, they're probably going to have another meeting and the conversations are not going to end.
How, in your opinion, this is pure speculation because I don't know, you don't know. I don't think anybody on planet Earth can answer this question.
I don't know.
But you and I can give it a try. How does the rest of college football or the rest of the ACC look at UNC if they do it alone and are on an island?
I don't know. I don't think they're going to do it alone. I think there's a reason why. Oh boy. Now, we believe there is a reason why Florida State hasn't done it alone yet, because they figured out, they were told the bigger the better. So that's why they haven't. So we don't believe North Carolina is going to go alone on it. Now, we could end up being wrong because we don't know what the hell is going to happen. I'm just giving you my best shot here. I don't think they're going to go alone. But if they did, I think other people would be jumping in their own silos, doing the same thing North Carolina did. But I don't think, I got a feeling that no one's going to be doing it alone. But I could be wrong.
And it takes 10 to dissolve the conference?
It takes 10. That whole possibility, though, it might, it might be a couple. It might be a couple bigger than 10. It's, it just because it takes 10 doesn't mean it would be limited to 10. It might go to 12. Something like that, but crazy theory as it is, people are the chatter behind the curtain. They talk about it as something that might happen.
But it could be that I think they have 18 teams, right, in the conference, or 16.
They got 17, and then Notre Dame is a
okay, yeah,
whatever you want to call them.
Oh God, that's right, Notre Dame. Oh boy. So half the conference could do it. The other half plus one could not do it. And hypothetically, they'd live in harmony.
I don't think so. But again, we're just speculating here.
I know.
I don't think half the conference, I don't think the private equity would want that. I think if the ACC did it at a conference level, I think everyone's got to be on board. Everyone's got to be on board because, to be honest with you, if you take private equity money, you are signing a long-term grant of rights. So everyone's got to be on board, who's ever in that conference. That's what the uphill battle that Bet Your Mark's having. So I think, again, per people that we've talked to, and I know this sounds crazy, but, you know, the ACC, if North Carolina's perception is, if we want the same option that the Big 12 has, we might have to do the dissolution of the conference to be able to do it. That's why that is being talked about. Because you can't do it unless everyone's on board. Hopefully that makes sense.
Kind of, but it kind of takes us back to the beginning when I asked my first question, can UNC do it alone? And the answer is no.
Well, I mean, alone, like doing it as a school, yes, but at a conference level, you need everybody in the boat.
Right. No, I get that.
Yeah.
I get that part.
Yeah.
But if UNC can do it alone, 4 schools in the ACC can do it alone.
Yeah, but again, true. But then again, it for whatever reason, and I don't quite understand it all. It's been hammered to me that they're not going to get as much value out of it. Like, it'd be stupid to do it that way. Like, literally dumb.
Yeah, that's the force multiplier.
Yeah,
right.
and that's why Florida State has we're gonna wait. We're gonna keep waiting on this. Brett Yormark is trying to get everybody in the Big 12 bundled together on this.
But you mentioned the other 3 schools yesterday.
I mentioned the schools that either we know and we can say that was at the presentation. Yeah, we do know a few more in the Big 12, but I haven't got. I don't want to say it until I get back to a certain person. We know.
Right. But the 4 schools you said yesterday were UNC, Syracuse,
Virginia Tech, and Louisvile.
Okay. So it sounds like the 4 of them are as interested as Bubba is. The 3 of them plus UNC.
It probably, yeah, maybe, yes, possibly, yeah. I mean, you could possibly say that. They're interested.
They were interested enough to attend.
Yeah. But, being interested to attend and look at the slides and the presentation might not be enough interest to actually pull the trigger. But I think if they all go together of a certain amount of schools for the ACC, if they decide to dissolve the conference, and because, if this crazy idea, if it actually happens, and it's crazy, I mean, it's never been done before, it would be a massive story. But if you have that dissolution, if you have it, then you also have private equity. They're not doing that without private equity. That's part of
But that also opens the door for many, many things to happen.
Yes, it does.
Because once you dissolve, at that moment, you're free. It's almost like a divorce. You may have plans on divorcing and marrying your girlfriend, but if you divorce, you don't have to marry your girlfriend.
True. Well, in this case, I believe you do have to marry your girlfriend because you need. I do not. I know what you're saying, but I'm not. I don't believe as this. First of all, a lot of this is speculation, but I've had lots of conversations about this lately. because it's one of the many stories that the chattering class are talking among themselves. But the whole ability to dissolve a conference, the only way you're going to get those votes is if you have bounded together. If that you are creating a new conference among each other. So you're going to have to marry each other. You're not going to get the votes. You're going to have to sign something before you dissolve. You're going to have many conversations with private equity before you dissolve that conference. You have to get your ducks in a row. So in this case, if you're divorcing, you are marrying your girlfriends or whatever you want to call it.
Wow.
Yeah. Because you're not going to get the votes, and you're not going to get 10. Or you're just not going to get it. So, yeah.
This is bold.
Yeah, if it happens. But,
If it happens.
But anyway, we got calls coming on in here, Rick.
Yeah, no, thanks. No, I appreciate your explaining it. Thanks.
You got it. Thank you, buddy. Appreciate it. Great call.
Yep.
Beautiful. Kerry Gold knows Bill Belichick 110% won't coach at North Carolina. Same reasons Nick Saban left. Twice the work, 365 recruiting. Hold on one second.
Call from
Evil Badger.
Evil Badger, can you hold on one moment, please?
Yes.
I appreciate it, sir. Kerry Gold knows, thank you for your super chat. Thank you for your support once again. Thank you for helping us keep the lights on. Now, you could be right, but 110% is a lot of percentage points, right? You're over 100%. Bill Belichick, I think it's serious. I think he's internally serious about possibly doing this. I don't think you would have wasted. Again, we read a report from the Athletic about 45 minutes ago. It was released halfway through this live show that Bill Belichick has been spending a lot of time with the Washington Husky program. He thinks his system would work, and he's been doing a lot of thinking about it. We're going to find out. Thank you, Kerry Gold Knowles, for your generosity once again. Appreciate it. Evil Badger, thank you for your patience, sir. The floor is yours.
Hi, Greg. Thanks for taking my call.
How you doing, sir?
A little congested today, but otherwise I'm all right.
What's the story on Tyler Van Dyke? I haven't seen anything yet.
I read a story on ESPN, and I don't know if he actually went into the portal, but I think they think that he will hit the portal eventually.
Okay.
And they did a story on the top quarterbacks that potentially could be in the portal.
Oh, yeah. I read that article. Tyler Van Dyke is one of the quarterbacks that could be in the portal. He'd be one of the top targets if he was in the portal. But I don't think he's made the decision yet. Or maybe he has.
Right. So, I don't honestly think that he's going to be back at Wisconsin next year because of they signed 2 quarterbacks yesterday.
Yeah.
One of them has a torn ACL. So, right now it's either going to be Matauer or Curtis Smith.
Curtis Smith and who?
Curtis Smith and maybe Matauer.
Okay.
The freshman this year.
Okay.
That's why the possibility of them bringing in Connor Wegman from what is it?
Texas A&M. Yeah.
There's a possibility. Plus, yeah, the a quarterback from Texas A&M does have family from Wisconsin. So
Interesting. Now I like Connie Wegman. I like him a lot. He hasn't quite. He got injured. He's been injured both years. I believe he would have a couple more years of eligibility. I loved his high school tape. I've talked about that many times when he was being recruited. I think he's got talent. I don't. No, I picked. This is speculation on my part, but I would have a hard time imagining that Luke Fickell would go with a red shirt or a true freshman starting quarterback week 1. So,
well, if he doesn't get Wegman out of Texas A&M, he might not have a choice.
Well, there's going to be other quarterbacks in the portal. Now Curtis, your freshman, your stud that you're bringing in, he might be your quarterback midway through the year, but to start him as QB1 when you need.
Well, he's going to be an earlier rollie too. So
you got to get 7 or 8 wins next year, and Wisconsin has a very difficult schedule next year.
What's the most difficult schedule in college football next year?
Yeah, and Luke Fickell needs to win 7 of them. So do you go with a true freshman or freshman quarterback? I think he's got to get somebody in the portal. And if it's not Connor Wegman, it's got to be somebody else.
Well, I hope so.
Just my opinion.
I hope so, but I think Fickell is starting to understand that some of these younger players want to play, or else they'll be out in the portal as soon as the season's over with. Because there's a lot of players going into the portal.
Yeah.
I'm kind of disappointed that we lost Kakahuna.
Yeah, that's your good wide receiver. Your young guy, right?
Right.
Yeah, that was a shocker. That shocked me. Yeah. It's It's tough. It's a tough spot right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Plus, half our cornerbacks are leaving too. And hopefully the new crop of cornerbacks can play soon, because otherwise I think it's probably going to be like a 3-win season.
Yeah, well, if it's a 3-win season, you're going to have a new coach for 2026.
Fickell is gone.
Yeah.
But there is one more thing I kind of want to talk to you about.
Yeah.
I looked at Minnesota's schedule for next year.
Yeah.
And Minnesota's schedule is so soft that they should be like Indiana was this year.
Oh, come on. You're crazy. You're just trying to set expectations that we can't possibly meet.
It's a really soft schedule.
No, it's not.
And Wisconsin has the toughest schedule in the nation.
Well, look, I'm gonna show you guys. I'm gonna show you guys something here. Now, now the non-conference is it's okay. It's pretty weak. Buffalo Bulls, the Northwestern State Demons, and California Golden Bears at California. But I don't think Mendoza, very good quarterback for California. I think he just went in the portal today. If not, I think they're expecting him to go to the portal. But look,
I think they're expecting him to go to the portal.
Yeah, but listen now. Look at our road games. At Oregon, at Ohio State, at Iowa. That is not Indiana's schedule of this year. At Oregon and at Ohio State. Now the rest of the schedule is doable. Michigan State, Nebraska, we've beaten them 5 times in a row. Purdue's going to have a new quarterback. Rutgers, Wisconsin. I think we're starting to handle you guys. Northwestern. So there is a soft part of the schedule. But we do have 3 road games. At Oregon, at Ohio State, at Iowa, and you talk about your quarterback issues. We have Minnesota. It looks like we're going with redshirt freshman Drake Lindsey next year. PJ Fleck did say we are going to get a quarterback out of the portal to compete. But we're not going to have the money to spend like we did on Max Brosmere. We're just going to be bringing somebody in, just another body. It's going to be Drake Lindsey's job. It sounds like we've given him a whole lot of NIL money to make sure that nobody poached him, because he's looked very good in practice. Max Brosmere and him have gotten very tight. He was the Arkansas Player of the Year, the Gatorade Player of the Year in Arkansas last year as a high school senior. So I think we're going to have redshirt freshman Drake Lindsey going to Oregon, going to Ohio State, going to Iowa City. At Iowa, that is a very, very tough call for a redshirt freshman quarterback.
All right. Well, I just want to give you a little grief about the Minnesota schedule.
You got it. I appreciate it. I do appreciate it. Thank you, sir.
I think that's all for me.
You got it, buddy. Thank you, Eagle
right.
Badger.
Thank you.
You have a good one.
All right.
Bye. I mean, it's not a bad. It's not a bad schedule, really. It's not. But at Oregon, at Ohio State, at Iowa, I mean, we're probably need a miracle to go 1-2 from those games, and the rest of it is doable.
Call from
Stephen Vitt.
Stephen Vitt, Mr. Ohio Bobcat. Thanks for calling, sir. The floor is yours.
Hello, Greg. This is Stephen Vitt. Finally, calling into your show.
Beautiful. I love it. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, I've been meaning to call in for the longest time. I've been trying to get in the waiting line.
Yeah.
And it's like multiple times I've just tried to call in, and all of a sudden the show ends. I'm like, well, yeah.
Yes. What's on your mind, sir?
Yep. But anyway, this is conference championship weekend, and obviously I'm looking forward to it. And obviously my team, the Ohio Bobcats, they're in it. They're going up to Ford Field.
Parker Navarro, tell us what you know.
Parker Navarro, mobile quarterback. He knows how to run the ball. He knows how to tuck it in and just run. He gets key first downs when he needs to. And, he leaves some stuff to be desired when it comes to passing the ball. But generally speaking, he's just a serviceable quarterback. He's very good on the run, like I said. And I do believe that we have a legitimate shot of getting the job done up in Detroit.
Yeah. I think you guys do as well. I went through the game logs of Parker Navarro.
Yeah.
And his second half of the season has been much better. I mean, he's on a roll, right? He's on a little bit of a roll.
Yeah, he's feeling it.
Yeah.
Early on this season, I was kind of wondering, okay, what's he doing? But as the season has gone along, and I think ironically enough, ever since the first game against Miami of Ohio, Parker Navarro, he's been really seeing the field much better when he runs and when he passes, and he's really the quarterback that you need in a game like this for the MAC championship game. And I'm seeing already a lot of people, in sports media picking Miami of Ohio to just do what they did in October, and I think that's a mistake.
Well,
That's just me.
Well,
Yeah.
Greg the Cooler
Yep.
did exactly that. I took
Yeah.
Miami, Ohio.
Well, I didn't include you in that, but yeah. But yeah, I understand why. It's Miami of Ohio, they're obviously talented. They have a great head coach, Chuck Martin, and I mean, I respect them, no doubt. I respect them. It's just that at some point you get tired of hearing about your arch rival, you know?
No, I understand. And Chuck Martin, I mean, there is some steam out there about the Purdue Boilermakers.
Really?
So, yeah. So, Purdue is casting out a large net. I think Chuck Martin is in that net. I think Jason Candle's in that net. I think Western Kentucky's head coach is definitely in that net. I think Barry Odom is in that net. But I think Chuck Martin, well, he's definitely in that net. How old is Chuck Martin?
Oh, Chuck Martin, I think he's in his 50s.
Okay.
I think.
But yeah, you got Gabbert. He's a wily quarterback. The Red Hawks are pretty physical. But yeah, it's I'm gonna watch it. I know that MAC Conference Championship. You gotta watch it, and I'm gonna be rooting for Ohio, even though I took Miami because I got family who coaches at Ohio. So
yeah,
if you look at the name Roney on the staff, you'll know who I'm talking about. Roney.
Yeah.
That is
I mean, just like to say that it's been 56 years since the Ohio Bobcats won the MAC title.
How many years?
56.
Jeez, that's
I think we're due.
Yeah, that's about as long as when Western Michigan won it.
Yeah.
Right? About the same length. Wow. So look, PATC community, all of you have to be rooting for Stephen Vitt's Ohio Bobcats, unless you have a direct connection with Miami of Ohio. So, but hopefully it works out, man. Hopefully you get that championship.
Yeah, I want to win it, man. I want to get it done.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the Bobcats get it done.
Get it done, and then next year, the Bobcats can even dream bigger, right? To dream
I
big.
hope so.
To think about getting into the college football playoffs, right?
Right. I mean, we take it one step at a time.
One step at a time.
Step one, win the MAC championship.
Yeah.
Whatever we do in the bowl game, that is what it is. But step 2 and step 3, start thinking about getting a roster going so that we can compete for that, the college football playoff, hopefully.
Yeah. All right, man. Anything else?
Yeah. Yes. One more thing before I go. I don't want to take too much time. I really don't. I have an alternate YouTube channel called STV Castle. It's my initials, STV Castle. And on that channel, I have a show called Bobcat Corner. It's just something I do to cover the Ohio Bobcats in my spare time. So if you just type in Bobcat Corner in the search function on YouTube, it'll come up with Bobcat Corner.
Bobcat
so if you guys are interested, check. Yep.
Bobcat Corner YouTube, Stephen Vitt. I'm going to check it out.
Yep, it should pop up at some point. Yep.
Beautiful. Are you going to do like a post game or like a?
About that, after the MAC championship game later on the night on Saturday, I'm going to have like a live stream recap show, just discussing what happened in the game.
Wow. Thank you so much. Thanks for letting us know.
You guys are invited.
Sir.
Yep.
All right.
Thank you so much, Greg. Thank you so much, Greg Flugar.
Call again now, okay?
Yes. Thank you so much, Greg, for what you do.
You got it. Don't be a stranger, Mr. Bobcat. Thank you, sir.
Thank you too, Greg.
Appreciate it. Check out Bobcat Corner. check out Bobcat Corner, Stephen Vitt, Kerry Gold-Knowles.
Oh my God! Oh my God!
Holy smokes. Kerry Gold-Knowles, he has always been unbelievably generous. Hold on.
Call from
Scotty Hill.
I'm sorry, who's this? Scotty what?
Scotty Hill?
Scotty, can you hold on one moment, please?
Sure.
I appreciate it. Kerry Gold-Knowles, thank you for the massive super chat. Unbelievable. Thank you, Mr. Seminoles. Greg, I want to share the love. I've been very fortunate with my crypto investments. Well, I hope you continue to be fortunate or wise. It could be some wisdom in there, you know. Thank you so much. Unbelievable generosity. Really. You know, that you probably don't know. Maybe you probably do know. I don't know. But that really helps us here for many different reasons. I can tell you why later in private, Kerry, if you want me to. But we are able to do stuff with that. And again, you know, I can convince the little general, the moderator, that I can spend more time doing this and all that stuff. But it does go into a, we have the ability to do, you know, pay for more artwork and we're actually going to go and invest in a new computer here. Our show is very limited, as you all know. The host is not the sharpest knife in the drawer. We do have technological limitations. So at some point, we're going to expand our ability to do stuff here. And we have been saving up and investing and doing stuff in the background that I'm not going to bother you guys as of right now. The little general has just walked into the studio. Little general, look what Kerry Gold-Knowles did. Come over here.
I don't want to be in the camera.
Well, you're on audio. They can hear you.
Hello, everybody.
Okay. I don't know if they can hear you say hello or not. Okay. Little general doesn't want to be on camera because...
Everybody's going to be disappointed. I'm going to say, what?
No,
Hi, everybody.
Okay. She said hi, everybody. I don't know if anybody can hear her.
I'm so tired. I just come.
Okay. All right.
Okay,
All right.
see you, honey.
All right. See you later. Excuse me, guys. Anyways, Kerry Gold-Knowles, thank you so very much. I appreciate your incredible generosity. Unbelievable. You help us out so much on this channel. I wish I could tell you, but, you know, hopefully you know. Hopefully you know. Thank you, Kerry. Appreciate it so much. Wow. Greg needs to sing the FSU fight song for that tip. Yes, it's Bobcat Corner. Have I ever done the Florida State fight song? I've done the Seminole Wind. I've done Seminole Wind. I sang that song in dedication to the Seminoles. I don't think I've ever done their fight song. Thank you, Kerry. The little general is too shy to go on camera. Well, I got a lot of imperfections. I have a lot of imperfections, Stormy Cyclone, which includes a record against the spread that is unbelievably bad. Okay, caller on the line. Thank you for your patience. The floor is yours.
Yeah, you tell the little general we know who the power behind the throne is, and she needs to get front and center right away.
Yes.
We all love and respect her.
Yes, she is the power. I can guarantee you that.
Well, Greg, I appreciate all the good info over the last couple of years. I've been watching you for a long time. I'm a long-time suffering Tar Heel football fan, and you know, I thought I might shed a little light on what's happening down there. I know you've got some good sources, and you know, I've been on Inside Carolina looking at a lot of stuff.
Okay.
One of the things that came up was that, and you may have covered it earlier, I don't know, I had to fast forward about 30 minutes in your show to catch up to where you were to the live. But Bill Belichick's father, Steve, coached for Carolina from 1953 to 1955.
Holy smokes!
He spent the first part of his life, since I think he was from 3 to age 5, in Chapel Hill. So there's genuine interest, I have to believe, on his part in the job, just because that's a part of his childhood. And so that hasn't been talked about in the media. It's kind of missed the story there. But that's another element of this.
I did not know that. Thank you, sir. Wow.
Yeah. But anyway, I'll keep it brief. But I appreciate your show. I'll call in again sometime. We're rooting for our Tar Heels to find a safer landing ground at some point, whether it's SEC or Big Ten. But anyway, we appreciate all the good info and all the digging that you do on behalf of everybody.
I appreciate you calling. Scotty, please call again. I do not appreciate that you guys went 2-0 against my beloved Golden Gophers. But
we'll call it 1 and 1.5. I mean, you guys did have a field goal in the air to beat us, so
Yeah, well, it's our special teams. This studio sits in the middle of Loserville City, and I'm the mayor, and that was one reason why. So I appreciate it, sir.
I can relate, brother.
All right, talk to you later. Call again. Beautiful.
Thanks.
Beautiful.
Bye.
Another Carolina caller. I love it. Absolutely love it. A lot of people attracted to Chapel Hill, the state of North Carolina, in the growing power. And one of the growing powers of North Carolina, not just their growing student base that everybody wants, it's also the money in their market, the national advertisers. That's why they put the NHL hot. Whatever. I went through that rabbit hole many, many times. Thank you, Larry the Jam. Very kind words. Greg, you truly create an environment where we feel as part of your family. Appreciate it, Larry Jam. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Unfortunately, Mr. Longhorn, I did predict Texas to beat Georgia. So you might not be happy with that. You might wanted me to go against you, but I got Texas beating Georgia. But, and I've said this before, I'm not giving up on Georgia. I got a feeling, Georgia, Texas, Oregon, I think the Buckeyes, there's a few teams that I think are in the national hunt. Now, all 12 teams, whoever makes it, should absolutely believe they got a shot. Iowa State, Arizona State, Boise State, Indiana, Notre Dame, all of them. But I still believe in Georgia. As crazy as that sounds, and I believe in Texas. I do not believe in Alabama. Alabama's not beating Notre Dame. Larry the Jam, how about that environment? How about that environment that I'm creating? It doesn't feel so warm around here anymore, right? Because I've laid it on the line. I've laid it absolutely on the line. Bama is not beating the Irish in the first round of the playoffs. And I'm getting a whole bunch of people upset, including my 91-year-old mother. I've already told her, Coy. Now, she doesn't quite. I've tried to explain the seedings, and I said the game's not official. But if it happens, Mom, your Alabama Roll Tide is going down to the Irish. I told her the exact same thing, and she was not happy. Terry Kane, Bama should be out. Where's Greg the Gold? Greg the Gold did not show up this year. He showed up 1 week. Greg the Believer showed up 1 week. And Greg the Loser Greg, the cooler showed up 12 weeks. 12 out of 14 weeks. What an embarrassment. Bearcat Steve, lake effect snow has made it from Lake Erie to the Hall of Fame Stadium. Ohio High School D2 state final is a definite snow globe. Wow. I bet it's fun to watch. And for some of those young kids, they like to play in that stuff. Don Scruggs, Texas doesn't have a chance. Curtis, Alabama will melt in real football weather. Notre Dame's defense is not giving up anything to Alabama. They're not giving up anything to Alabama. They're gonna stick Alabama. Now, I do have to admit, we're gonna be doing watch parties on all these playoffs. Saturday, I'm gonna be in the studio from morning to night. I'm not gonna have a voice left. I'm not gonna have any emotions left. One thing I'm worried about in a Notre Dame Alabama game, the one thing I'm worried about, hold on everybody, there is something that I'm worried about.
Call from
Larry the GM.
Larry the GM, can you hold on 1 second?
Yes, sir.
I appreciate it, sir. Kerry Gold knows, how much are you talking about for a computer, new or used? I am letting my nephew, who I think has moved back here to Minnesota. He's been gone for a few months. He was working on a national campaign. He was our technological, one of the guys. He is going to take care of it for me. He knows what we need and everything. I'm on a Mac right now. We barely have enough to get by, but we're going to make some improvements in this show. So I don't know what I need, but we are working on it. I appreciate the question. It's going to be new. It's going to be a new computer. Thank you, Kerry Gold knows. It ain't going to be a Mac. It's not going to be a Mac. We're going in a different direction. Thank you for the super chat, Kerry Gold knows. Once again, thanks again for your incredible generosity. Here's Larry the GM. He's going to chew me out for something. I know he is. He probably should. Larry the GM, the floor is yours.
Well, Greg, I'm not going to chew you out. I'm going to believe that you are going to be right and I'm going to be wrong, because
yes.
I'm concerned that Georgia's going to win this game. I've said like a month and a half ago that Texas would lose 3 games this year and they would all be to Georgia. And if you look at the way the projected playoffs are, if Texas loses this game, they could probably fall to the 7th seed, and Georgia would have the 2 seed, and they would end up losing to Georgia again if they won their first round game. So I just think that Georgia's a really rough matchup for the Longhorns, and so it is what it is. But I'll be the first one to call you next week. Excited that if the Longhorns win, they win. But they Quinn Ewers is not right physically right now, so I think it's going to be a real challenge in the game.
Okay. You bring up a few interesting things here. If Georgia loses, I'm pretty convinced they're the 7th seed.
Aren't they the 7th now, aren't they?
Yeah, but I have this philosophy. I have this theory. Theory is a better word. And I could be completely wrong, Larry. We're going to find out Sunday. I don't think they're going to punish. I think the punishment of the losing team in the conference championship is going to be as minimal as possible. So I don't think they're going to move Georgia at all. Unless they get blown out by the Longhorns. Then I think they could move back. They get lowered. But I think if it's a competitive game and Georgia loses, I still got them 7. I know everybody, pretty much 90% of the PATC family disagrees with me. I'm fine with that. So I think Georgia's still going to remain number 7. And then they're going to play number 10, Indiana. And then if they win that game, again, they play Texas, like you just said, correct?
Right.
So, I don't know. Do you think the committee is going to take a strong look at that and go, maybe if Georgia loses their 3rd game, we should just have them play 8 and 9 versus Tennessee and move Ohio State up to 7, but then they play Indiana?
I do, Greg. I know the committee has said that they're not going to avoid repeat matchups. But
I think you're right. Yeah.
I see if they have an opportunity to separate Texas and Georgia, I think they're going to take that opportunity. And moving Georgia to 8 and saying, okay, we're moving you down 1 slot for losing the SEC championship game, but you keep your home field advantage, and this way you don't have to play that team that you lost to in the SEC championship game. You go on the opposite side of the bracket, and if you guys get to the point where like I said, I think Texas can beat just about everybody else, Greg. I really do.
Yeah.
It's Georgia that I'm worried about.
Well,
So,
I got a question because you brought it up. I'm not trying to create controversy. I'm not trying to spread rumors, but you brought up something in regards to
viewers.
Yes. How severely is he nicked up? Is he injured or is he hurt? Because there's a difference. Is he injured?
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna really know. You know what I'm saying, Greg? I don't think they're not gonna be as transparent as you and I would wish they would be, but I think they did what they did with Manning in the last game against A&M. I think you're going to see some of that in situations where they want the threat of a running quarterback, in the red zone and those sorts of. I think they're going to have Manning in there, and I think they're going to actually unleash Manning to throw the ball a few times in that, just so Georgia can't completely key on him running. But I don't think Ewers is healthy. It would be really, really good for the Longhorns if they were able to win the SEC championship game. And it's not just Ewers, but Isaiah Bond's not completely healthy either. So it would be. I think Ewers is questionable. It's listed as questionable. At least he was in the first report. Bond is not 100% either, and I think he's really a huge key for them to being able to beat Georgia, and so those are the 2 injuries I think that are the biggest. But Greg, as you've heard me say, I think it's the Longhorn defense. It's the defense that has to come through, and then when they played Georgia before, they just got themselves in terrible field position, and that really stymied their offense. That really put them in a bad situation. If they can get themselves in even a neutral field position game, I think it's going to be a fascinating game, Craig. I hope you get a chance to watch it.
Oh, we'll do a watch party. We're gonna be on the air the whole. We're gonna be on the air the whole Saturday. So.
Well, you'll hear from me on Saturday.
In
the chat or wherever.
Yeah. It's gonna be a blast. It's gonna be great.
I'll be transparent with you, Greg, how I'm feeling. Okay.
Yeah, I know you will. That's the one thing I can count on you for, is being transparent. All right. Anything else, sir?
No. Let's. I think what, Greg? Do you think that if SMU loses, they're going to fall out, or maybe I think I know the answer to that. You don't think they're going to fall out, but how many points would SMU have to lose to Clemson by to lose their spot?
Well,
I
first,
think that number's smaller than I think.
Well, first of all, let me clear something up. I have projected that SMU is going to win, and that Alabama is going to get the last at large bid. So they're going to be 11th seed. If Clemson wins, I do hope that SMU gets the spot. But I'm not convinced that Alabama is going to automatically get it like other people are saying. But I do think SMU, if they lose by double digits, they become very vulnerable. So it isn't going to take much. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think they have to lose by 20 points to be vulnerable. I think if they lose by 10, they're vulnerable.
All right, we are then 100% aligned, Greg. Because if they lose by 10, I think the chances of them, and this isn't fair. People won't like hearing it, but like SMU's having a golden year, right? And so it's not. And there is some doubt for teams that have years like that. I expressed doubt related to Indiana because they're having a year that they haven't had in forever. So this is a great year for SMU. Nothing can ever take that away. Nothing can change that. But if they can't beat Clemson, when you've had just South Carolina just beating Clemson, kind of resetting to those in the SEC how they feel about it's another conference, Greg. Then I just think it's going to be impossible for them to put SMU in. I really do, and people may think that's unfair. They may not like hearing it, but I'm just telling you, I think that's the reality. So
yeah, I think it's the reality, but I don't like Alabama being in it, so I don't.
Yeah, I know, and Greg, I think the one thing is, I think a lot of people keep focusing on the losses, and I think they need to focus both on the losses and the wins.
Well, I think you got to focus on both, and losing to Oklahoma by 21 is again. I just said that SMU. Losing close or losing by, if they lose by a field goal or lose by 10, I think there's quite a bit of difference there because they're vulnerable. Well, that vulnerability should also go to Alabama. Losing by 24, not getting a touchdown, 21, not getting a touchdown against Oklahoma should count more against Alabama than it is being counted right now. It's almost like it never happened.
All the victories they have. That's because they have all the wins they have. Great.
Yeah. All righty, sir. I appreciate you listening to me complain once again.
Yeah, well, you have a great college football weekend, and Greg, I just like following up on the themes of the shows for the last 2 days. You're doing so much to give us. You call it the peek behind the corner. You're helping us understand what's really happening in the business of college football, and I, for one, really appreciate that, Greg.
I appreciate the kind words. Appreciate you dropping in. Please call again, Larry the GM. Please call. And I know I'm going to get the Longhorns upset with me at least once a month, along with the evil Badgers and all the rest of you evil people out there. If you're not a Golden Gopher, I'm against you.
Well, thanks, Greg. Have a good day.
Appreciate it, my man. Thank you. Thank you for those kind words. Maria, Hernandez, Garcia, Vargas, Rojas, Flugar. Wow, thank you so much for your support and help. I'm sorry, I was just coming home. I got shy, but everybody of you are amazing and very special. Yes, Maria is very shy. But once the camera turns off, she comes into the studio and she rules with an iron fist. Absolutely. She is the boss of this operation. Okay. No problem, Curtis. No problem at all. It was great coffee. Thank you, Curtis, for all your kindness and for sponsoring the show. When we were a very little small show, Curtis, I appreciate your sponsorship. Thank you so very much. Thank you so very much. Okay, Stormy Cyclone, we're going to close it out with your very nice comment. We've been on the air for 2 hours and 20 minutes. I want to thank everybody for coming on in. Make sure before you leave, you subscribe to our channel. Smash the like button if you've liked our content. If you haven't liked our content, please smash the thumbs down button and let me know on Twitter, on X and Y, and how we can give you better content in the future. I want to thank the Evil Badger, Ryan Willie, Go Black 45, Mr. Hoosier, Ricky Tungate for his gift memberships, Mr. Mountaineer, Larry Andrek for his gift membership, and Kerry Gold Knowles. Thank you for your incredible generosity, helping us keep the lights on, helping us so we can invest in better technology and just making everything better. Thank you, Mr. Seminole, Kerry Gold Knowles. I want to thank Christopher Machado for the new artwork that he has given us. The new artwork. He gave us this artwork, and we're also another artwork that I'm going to be using here in the future. Thank you, Mr. Mercado, for your incredible generosity, your artistic ability. Thank you so very much. I want to thank the people who, with their wonderful phone calls. I do not know why other national. Greg, I'm not an X anymore. How can I reach you? You can leave a message. Call the number of the channel, 763-260-1333, and you should be able to leave a message, your phone number, and I will get a hold back at you, Carrie. But I do appreciate your super chat. Again, thank you so very much. Leave a message on that phone number that is down below. That should work. If not, you and I will get back together next live show tomorrow. By the way, and again, Carrie, thank you for your super chat. I appreciate it. And again, tomorrow night, watch party. The Mountain West Conference Championship. Boise State Broncos versus the UNLV Rebels. The winner of that game is going to the playoffs. UNLV is going in. If they beat Boise State, they are going in. There's going to be so much interest in the game. More interest in that game than ever before because of the expanded college football playoffs. So it's going to be fun. You got a couple great running backs in that game. Ashton Genty of Boise State. UNLV's got a running back, Mr. Thomas, who has been basically unstoppable for the second half of the season. You've got Haj Malik Williams, quarterback of UNLV, who struggled in his first game against the Boise State earlier in the season. And Maddox Madsen has been I think he's been receiving a little bit too much grief in the college football world. Well, you know what? He can settle all scores tomorrow night. If he completes enough passes to put the pressure off Ashton Genty. If the Broncos win that game, I think they are the number 4 seed. At least the number 4 seed. If Clemson wins, Boise State's going to be the number 3 seed. It's crazy. It's wild. It's great. It's college football. So please join us. Please join us tomorrow. Tomorrow night, live watch party, PATC. Until next time, from all of us at College Football's Peek Around the Corner, to all of you, please, you all take great care of each other. Thank you so very much.